Welcome into the Ravens Rundown, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. So glad to have you with us. On today's show, we are talking about the possibility of the Ravens trading for DeAndre Hopkins as events within the last couple of days, the Kyler Murray injury that occurred, have now opened up this possibility, and people are talking about it. We'll dive in to the latest Ravens rumor and more in just a few moments from right now. Before we do, the real ones out there, the flock came through, helped us reach 8,000 subscribers. Another milestone here on the Ravens Rundown. Couldn't have done it without you guys. You're the absolute best. And I got to tell you, it is such a privilege to bring you this show each and every day, talking about your favorite team. If you are subscribed to the channel, if you're one of the 8,000, or if you want to join us in be a part of what we're doing each and every day, let me know in the comments section. Type me if you are subscribed to the channel for daily Baltimore Ravens news and rumors videos. It's right here, all in one place, youtube.com/RavensTV. Trading for D-Hop, is that a realistic possibility for the Baltimore Ravens? Well, the folks at the Locked On Ravens suggested the possibility that the Ravens could be in the market for DeAndre Hopkins. And all of this has kind of changed pretty quickly within the last few days. So let's tell you about the series of events that led us to this possibility. Beginning on Monday night, when the Arizona Cardinals lost to the New England Patriots, Kyler Murray suffered a season-ending ACL injury. And with the timing of the ACL injury from Kyler Murray, that also affects his status for next season. Think about OBJ. He got injured in the Super Bowl, right? He's still not back on the football field right now. Kyler Murray next year, with the timing of this injury being late in the season in the month of December, there's a very slim chance that he is going to be available when the season begins next year. And so with that, kind of a rebuilding year of sorts, you would have to imagine, is ahead for this Arizona Cardinals team. Their head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, his future is uncertain. If I had to guess, I would probably think that he's not going to be back next year as their head coach. And their GM, Steve Keim, who's taken a lot of heat for some of the decisions he's made, he's already on a medical leave of absence. So his future was already uncertain in his own right. Now you add in that medical leave as well, could be a perfect timing for Arizona to kind of hit the reset button. Now, DeAndre Hopkins, he didn't make too many people happy in Arizona when he began the season suspended with a 6-game penalty for a positive drug test. And remember, last offseason, we already saw the Cardinals and the Ravens were in business together as the Ravens traded away Marquise Hollywood-Brown to the Arizona Cardinals to pair him with DeAndre Hopkins. And you would have to think that Marquise Brown, the younger receiver of the two, is more a part of the future plans for Arizona as opposed to DeAndre Hopkins. So, with all that being said, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about D-Hop and potentially his role with the Ravens next year. We'll dive into that in just a second. Before we do, your turn to be the GM here on the Ravens Rundown. Would you trade for DeAndre Hopkins? If you would, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know in the comments section below. You might get an ad break. If so, take advantage of it. Get your votes in. Y for yes, in for no. Now, personally, I love the idea of trading for DeAndre Hopkins for several reasons. Not only is he a dynamic receiver who has had an all-pro caliber career, 3-time first-team all-pro, but he would provide a much-needed spark to this Ravens offense potentially. Here's a guy that was fantastic not only in his time with Arizona, but with the Houston Texans, set 3 franchise records for them in his time there. And you look at what he's done the last 4 years, it's been solid. Sure, there's been some injuries, and we mentioned the suspension that he suffered this year, but you look back at 2020, 1,400 yards. 2019 had close to 1,200 yards receiving as well. This guy has been quite the threat. Now, here's the thing, though. If you bring in DeAndre Hopkins, we talked last week here on the show, and I will say this again, that Greg Roman has to go. And Greg Roman is not going to do what it takes to make DeAndre Hopkins successful. We've seen what Greg Roman has done when they've had good receiving talent in the past, and Greg Roman is not the guy to be able to lead this offense and put wide receivers in the best position to succeed. So when I look at D-Hop, if he were to come in, I hope that's also with a new offensive system in place that can put him in a spot to succeed. Look, if you pair him up with Mark Andrews, with Rashad Bateman, watch out. I think we would totally view this offense completely different than what we do right now, where the Ravens are just hoping for anybody that can catch the football with Rashad Bateman out right now. If you put two receivers like that, of that caliber together, along with an all-pro caliber tight end and Mark Andrews, watch out. This offense could really take it up a couple notches next year, assuming you bring Lamar Jackson back into the fold. More on Lamar here in just a second as well. Currently, right now, the depth chart for the Ravens, look, they need all the help they can get, folks. Let's be honest with you here. We don't know about Demarcus Robinson, about his future, or Deshaun Jackson next year. You got Devin Duvernay into the fold, and you'll get Rashad Bateman back from injury. But look, you're going to have to add some pieces. Simple as that. And my confidence level in this receiving core is not very high, let alone right now, as far as even the future goes for this group. There is a lot to be concerned with. So for me, there has to be changes to this receiving core going forward. You can't just be content with who you are right now. So what's your confidence level in the Ravens receiving core? Scale it for me, 1 through 10. Let me know in the comments section below how you're feeling about this group and their future beyond 2022. 1 through 10 in the comments section below. Today's show is presented by BetUS. If you go to chatsports.com/bet, you can use the promo code CHAT125 for a 125% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free when you use the promo code CHAT125 at checkout. You can bet on this weekend's action between your Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. The Brownies about a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under at 37. What's your bets going to be? You can place them now. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code CHAT125. Now, for me, when I look at a potential trade for DeAndre Hopkins, remember last year, the trade market was extremely high. Receivers were not cheap, right? And when it came to what they were worth on the trade market, but also what they were paid as well. For me, with DeAndre Hopkins at this point, I'm not concerned about the trade value. Look, the Ravens have some capital that they can work with here. But it's the money that's the concern for me. The truth is always in the money, right? And think about this. You still have to pay Lamar Jackson. That's priority number one before anything else this next offseason is paying Lamar Jackson. If you have to franchise tag him, that's not ideal, but you would do it if that's what it takes to keep him in town. And you still have to pay Roquan Smith. And Roquan Smith, we all assumed they were going to give a new deal to when they brought him into town. But based on the way he's played this year since joining the Ravens, you have to pay Roquan Smith and keep him around. So with that, those guys still have to be paid. And the money that you're giving to Ronnie Stanley right now, close to $24 million, close to $20 million for Marlon Humphrey, and then another $13 for Mark Andrews, it's going to be tough. You got to make your money work for you. I like the idea of bringing DeAndre Hopkins, keeping Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, and building this thing and making a run at this again next year. But I don't know about the money aspect. For me, you're going to have to figure out some finagling when it comes to the dollars and cents. The cap will go up, so that helps. But I'm a little concerned when it comes to that money situation. Even before the idea of bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, just paying Lamar Jackson and Roquan Smith in its own right. So, with that, we know that the Ravens are going to bring in some receivers this offseason, whether it be via trade or the draft or maybe even both. If you could make the call, what are you looking at? Do you want to go young and try to develop some receivers, or do you want to find some veterans potentially like DeAndre Hopkins? Let me know in the comments section. Would you rather draft or trade for a wide receiver this offseason? Type D for draft, type T for trade. Let me know in the comments section below. As always, you can find me on social media, whether it's the Twitter sphere with Elon and the gang, at Tyler Jones Live, on Instagram, there as well. And I will see you next time right here on Ravens Rundown. Appreciate you joining us.